All right, in this video, we're gonna be going over why mobility can make or break your javelin throw.
Nice.
That's what we're talking about! Let's go!
Whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, be sure to go to our website and check out our free javelin course. This is where I'll answer all your questions from javelin technique, nutrition, to physical preparation. What I'm gonna be doing here is breaking down the javelin throw body part by body part to show you the most important body parts that need to be mobile in order to throw the javelin effectively and stay injury-free and have a very long, successful career. So with the ankle, when we slow things down on the back foot needs to be able to be balanced and dorsiflexed in order for the hip to internally rotate. You might hear a lot of people talk about the importance of your hips rotating and firing forward so that you get hip shoulder separation and power the throw. You know, everyone always says like, you know, use your legs, but how do we actually do that? It starts with the ankle, because if you land on your back foot contact with your back foot flat on the ground, you're not going to be able to turn that knee and that foot and that hip forward. You are going to be flat-footed, and then you are going to drag your back foot along and not internally rotate it. That's a very important key piece, is that ankle needs to be able to be up on the ball of that foot in that dorsiflex position in order for that back hip to rotate through, okay? With that being said, then the hips need to be able to internally rotate, especially that back hip, okay? When that back foot lands on the ball of its foot and then rotates forward, the ability to internally rotate your back hip is essential to be able to get that hip engaged and power the throw. So what that does is you'll see when people land on back foot contact, their foot will be either facing the side or facing forward, somewhere in between, and then the block will get down quick, and then they continue to internally rotate that back hip through the block and through the throw. That's how you're able to use your lower half in the throw. And so if you lack the ability to internally rotate your hips and your hips are very tightened up, you're not going to be able to do that effectively, okay? Also, coming from the standpoint of the penultimate and the crossovers, if you don't have mobile hips, you're not gonna be able to get your knees up. You're not gonna be able to get smooth and relaxed crossovers. You're not going to be able to get a long penultimate because those abductors and adductors need to be mobile as well. So doing things like the 90-90, pigeon stretch, some Copenhagen dips, stuff like that is going to really help you be able to take your hips to the next level. Next, we have the QL, which is the lower back essentially, especially on your lower block side. So why that's important is because when you hit the block, you are decelerating at the time of the block, and then you will be doing a side bending motion into the block. So what happens is all of your speed and power from the approach comes to a complete stop. So that leg will shoot a lot of energy up its leg and then into your body. And that's how the kinetic chain works, like I've talked about in some other videos. But so that energy travels from your foot up your leg, then into your back. And then if it transfers effectively, eventually into your throwing arm. But a lot of times people will absorb a lot of the energy in their low back and they don't use their energy effectively because their lower back, that QL, is not strong enough and not mobile enough to be able to absorb that force and then transfer the energy. So a lot of times you hit the block and then you get stuck because your back is bothering you and it hurts really bad. That QL is essential to be able to be mobile and strong so that it can absorb the force effectively. So another important aspect of that is on the opposite side of the QL. So the QL will be in the back, and then in the front will be your psoas. That's technically called your hip flexor. Having that be strong and mobile as well helps your ability to absorb that impact, because like I was talking about, when you stick that block leg out, that lower back area takes a lot of the force, but a lot of that could be due to the fact that your psoas and your hip flexor is very tight as well, so you're not able to side bend effectively and pain-free. So doing some things like psoas dips and some psoas holds, even some isometric lunge holds, those are gonna be really helpful for that psoas to also be able to tolerate that block as well. Next, moving into more of the upper body, we got the chest here. The reason the chest needs to be mobile is because of something called layback. You guys might have seen some other videos where I talk specifically about how to train for layback or the best drills on how to get more layback in your throwing arm. And essentially what that means is when you keep that long arm in the back of your javelin throw and then your block hits the ground, before the throw initiates, that's what layback is where your arm is long and your block leg is on the ground. That first muscle to initiate the throw from that point forward is the chest. So if the chest is not mobile, you'll see some pre-bend with your arm and you won't be able to get layback. So layback is essential because that's what keeps your arm back, and then you're able to engage your chest if your arm is relaxed and has mobility. And then if your chest is mobile, you'll be able to engage that pec first as the first key element to accelerating the throwing arm forward. Because when we go forward, we have the hand back. The first thing that brings the arm forward is the chest, okay? Having that layback position and that mobile chest is essential to bringing the arm forward without disrupting the proper arm path. Shoulder, obviously the shoulder mobility is very, very important. The reason being there is because after the chest engages the throw, as the arm starts to come forward, the arm will find the proper arm slot and then go into external rotation. So external rotation is when you freeze frame it from the side of the throw and you'll see that your shoulder is back. That's external rotation. If you freeze frame from the side of the throw and you see that your arm is bent or is vertical, that is not getting into external rotation. So in order to go from layback to then external rotation, you need to have not only a mobile chest, but mobile shoulders as well. Then after the arm and the hand comes forward, that's when you will internally rotate and decelerate after the throw. Thoracic spine is the last piece of mobility that will make or break your throw. And that is because what happens when you are in that layback is it's not all in the shoulder. That motion also comes from bringing your chest forward and rounding your back a little bit so that you are able to get into that power position. So you'll be able to see that a lot with baseball pitchers when they throw down the mound. You're able to see that their arm is back into the layback position and then their chest is forward. And so what happens when their chest is forward is not only is their chest forward, but their spine is also forward. And so it has that curvature to the spine where the center of mass stays still, but then the chest and the spine moves forward, and then their neck is like in line with their center of mass. And as that's happening, the scaps are retracting. So simultaneously speaking, you have center of mass staying stacked, chest and T-spine going forward, neck staying in the same spot, and the scaps are retracting and the arm is back. Biomechanically speaking, a lot of moving pieces are going on there, but it's just important to know that you need to be able to have the ability to segment your spine and move your spine from front to back, side to side, in order to have the proper mobility to hit that power position in your throw. All right, guys, thanks for tuning into this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe and follow along for more.